Hey everyone, Rizwan Jagani here, and welcome to this Wednesday's video. I'm addressing a topic that is really important for all musicians, but I'm going to target specifically violinists and violists because it's what I'm more familiar with. But these are sort of things that you can keep in mind when you're playing your instrument or just going about your daily life, and that is the subject of tension. It is something that is in all of us. We have issues with it, we struggle with it, and we're always constantly striving to play without tension, or at least minimalize it in the best way. So I'm going to do a sort of general checklist of things and sort of things you can keep in mind when you are trying to isolate points of tension and how to remove them from your body. First thing is body awareness. Sometimes you might not be aware that you are tense or that you're in a lack of health. So it is good to sort of map things out in your body to see, like, oh, is my neck stiff after I play for a long time? Is my right shoulder hurting? Is my left shoulder hurting? Sometimes talking to your teacher helps. I've gotten a lot more into this ever since I started taking lessons here with David Harding, my current applied viola teacher at CMU, and he's very big about body awareness, and he's definitely opened up my posture, which you might see in some of my videos. I play with almost no tension now, even though sometimes he brings awareness to me that I do things that can sort of indicate that there is tension. Sometimes if you're making funny facial expressions or if you're frowning, it usually means you're tightening up your face, and that can immediately sort of translate into other things as well. So he always says play with a very quiet mind and a very quiet body. And that also comes in terms of movements. If you're going to move, move more laterally rather than going up and down, which is a habit I have, but slow process. It's something that doesn't happen immediately, but it's something to just keep in mind, that to bring yourself aware if there's tension in your body. Second, your neck and your sort of upper body area. You don't ever want to clench like this. You're gonna drive the right side of your neck absolutely bonkers. And everybody has different ways of holding the viola. I know some people that hold it sort of like to the side and keep their head straight. That's also good. Just remember, same thing, keep it relaxed. And the way I do it is through sort of what my teacher calls nose to scroll, in which my nose is in direction line with the scroll. And the same thing you want to keep in mind is that you're sort of just resting your head on the chin rest rather than using your neck to sort of clamp down. Sometimes you do have to clamp down if you're doing a really weird shift, but you have to clamp down and still remember to keep yourself relaxed. Additionally, your right shoulder and your left shoulder. You never want to raise your left shoulder to help meet the instrument. You want to bring the instrument to you. You don't want to bring yourself to the instrument. And you don't want to raise your shoulder to make a sound. If you raise your shoulder, first of all, you're going to get a very bad sound. It's going to sound tense, and then you're just going to knock out your shoulder. You might engage your rotator cuff because that's what your body's natural sort of function is, to sort of create a circular motion in your shoulder, but you're never to raise it. So what my teacher has me do is he has me raise my elbow, keep the wrist lined with the elbow, and have it collapse on a downward motion. And you get a very open, ringing sound. So a relaxed sound is a much more full sound. So these are the upper body things you want to keep in mind. Now I'm going to go more into like the midsection and lower body. The third thing applies specifically to sitting, and this is what they say in Alexander technique is sitting on your sit bones, which I thought was completely ridiculous the first time I heard it. It's like, what on earth is a sit bone? But I later on understood that anatomically our main section of our body is the head, the spinal cord, which essentially leads from the back right here all the way down, and then your torso. Your torso does not end at your waist, it ends below that. And the bones that essentially go into your glutes are what are known as the sit bones, and what is your main support when you're sitting. When you sit on those bones and on that sort of area, you can pivot freely if you need to. Like for example, if you're turning a page, or if you get emotional and you get into the piece and you're moving, rather than moving with your shoulders or moving from your waist, you move from your sort of pivot center. And it allows you to use the main muscles that are built for supporting your body, rather than slouching into your seat and throwing your whole spine out of alignment. That's why probably you'll have back pain afterwards. So fatigue is normal, pain isn't. Keep that in mind, especially when you're sitting. Another thing you want to keep in mind when sitting is sort of think about your standing posture. My teacher has me sort of point my left foot in the direction of the viola's scroll. And a lot of players do that. So think about that when you're sitting. The epitome of sitting posture for me is my rep teacher, Tatiana Michamis, because she told me to sit more at an angle so you can facilitate that exact playing style. So your left foot is sort of pointing in the direction of the scroll even when you're sitting. And ever since I've done that, I've had no issues sitting for long hours and playing. We have 3-4 hour rehearsals sometimes, and I can get through them without much tension issues. I'm always tired afterwards, but at least I'm not in pain. Getting a massage is good every now and then, but you shouldn't need one regularly to sort of keep your body in check. The last thing I'm going to mention is your feet. You want to keep your knees unlocked, have a little bit of spring to them, because whenever your body tenses up, you're going to want to lock your knees. That also happens when you're running, and it also happens when you're walking in a hurry, I have found. So always lead with your knees. If you don't engage your knees, you're going to stiffen them, and then you're going to have issues later. And then with your feet, you want to keep yourself fairly grounded with a somewhat forward-leaning stance. That doesn't necessarily mean lean onto the balls of your foot, but it means that sort of keep your feet nice and relaxed and grounded, somewhat going forward as though you're about to play. So when you're about to play anything difficult, or you're going to play something lyrical, you want to keep your body relaxed and keep all these things in mind. Because what happens is sometimes I tend to lean back onto the heels, which isn't good, and as a result, my knees lock and everything else goes out of alignment. So these components, I've already lost count, I think 4, and you want to sort of keep all of these in mind. Bring yourself awareness, attention, upper body, neck area, your torso, and then your legs, so 4. And you want to sort of keep all these things in mind, so that way when you play something, it's going to sound good. That's how you get a good sound. It brings me to one last point, and that is actually the left hand in particular. You want to make sure that you keep your left hand absolutely straight, and then if you have to engage these 2 fingers, instead of leaning your wrist back, which can cause tension, some players do that and they can do it in a relaxed way. I have not been able to figure that out myself. My rep teacher does it beautifully, and I've tried to mimic it, but it doesn't work for me, it works for her. You want to bring your wrist in, if anything. That way you can play these notes, and you can play them in the relaxed way. Keep in mind that if you are doing things to sort of like, change your setup or, changing your technique, you want to keep in mind that you have to do it slowly and steadily, like the turtle in the tortoise and the hare sort of story, where it's like, slow and steady always wins the race. That's the exact same thing. It's like training for a marathon, but at a slightly faster pace. So you're not necessarily going to be playing, Walton Viola Concerto fast section, like that part. You're not going to necessarily play that with new technique literally the day after you learn it. You're going to need to ease into it. That way you don't learn something with tension. I hope this video is helpful. It's a little scattered, I'm sorry, but these are all general things that you want to keep in mind for efficient and healthy playing, and you don't want to end up with any issues later on in the long run. This is a very strange occupation, and there's plenty of occupational hazards that come with it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Share this video with anybody that could benefit from this video, and have them also subscribe to my channel if they have not done so. Stay tuned for my upcoming adventures. I was supposed to have a performance video for you guys, but I'm gonna save that for next week. Why not? Anyway, take care. Bye.